So I don't have all the people I need. I'm working with what I have. Here you go. You can flip that. Okay. Okay, so in 1996, the murder of JonBenet Ramsey happened on December 26th, and just how is it possible that there was a little girl who was murdered in her own house, but nobody knew anything about what happened? So I'm going to go over one theory of who could have possibly killed her. Not all of them because it takes too much time. So I'm going to go over police errors, I'm going to go over the ransom note that was found, and then I'm going to go over just a few other weird coincidences that happened. So first, the police mistakes that were made. The police were short-staffed because it was the day after Christmas, and they arrived to the house, and while they only did a brief walkthrough of the house, they didn't find her body because it just wasn't a thorough walkthrough. In a Newsweek article that was from 1998, it stated that the reporting officer, what was his name, Rick French, walked through the house, paused for a moment in front of the basement, and decided not to go in. And that's where her body was found 8 hours later. So that was one of the mistakes. The other mistake that was made was that the entire house wasn't closed off as a crime scene. Only her bedroom was closed off. So because of that, there were many people who were allowed, whether it was friends, neighbors, family members, that were allowed to walk freely in and out of the house throughout the entire day. So a lot of evidence was, tampered with, destroyed, so that wasn't great. And then one of the last mistakes that they made was when they did interviews of the family, they interviewed the family together rather than separating them into separate rooms. So obviously, they could bounce off each other's stories and come up with something while they were together. And then next, I'm going to go over the ransom note, which was found by, I forgot about pictures, crime scene. The ransom note that was found by JonBenet's mother, Patsy Ramsey. So first off, what you can notice is that this note is really long for a ransom note. A few things about this ransom note that could possibly point to the family is that it was written on the mother's stationery with the mother's pen. It was also the second edition of the ransom note that was found. There were two ransom notes. There was a practice one that was found thrown away, and then there was this ransom note. And then the third part that really stands out from this note is the fact that the kidnappers asked for specifically $118,000, which was extremely close to JonBenet's father's Christmas bonus that he got that year, and only a few people knew about the amount of this bonus. So for the fact that I think it was within $1,000 or $1,000 or $2,000 in that range, and actually a forensic pathologist who consulted with the investigators on the case, Michael Baden, said, "The whole ransom note is, in my experience of 60 years, not a usual ransom note. I don't think it was written by an outside stranger." Then he went on to say, "Then there is the extremely unusual ransom request for $118,000, and only a few people knew about the bonus that John Ramsey had just gotten." So obviously that stood out to a lot of people, that stood out to a lot of people. And then the last thing that I'm going to go over is the odd coincidences. One of them is that there was no signs of an intruder in the house, and the only possible sign of an intruder was that there was a broken window. However, it was covered in debris that would have had to be moved out of the way if somebody were to enter the house. What was another one? The other thing that was just a little strange was that JonBenet was the one who found his daughter in the basement. I believe there's a quote of him saying, "Let me check the entire house to see if there was anything amiss." Just out of nowhere, he decided to look through the whole house. He was the one who found his daughter. Another thing that really stood out was that there was a previous 911 call made from the Ramsey house a few days before JonBenet was found in her basement. but whoever made that call hung up and didn't call again. The main thing that stood out, however, was the fact that JonBenet Ramsey had undigested pineapple in her stomach when she was found. This really stood out because according to her parents, she came home and was put straight to bed and didn't get up anymore at all that day. But her parents also say that she didn't eat any pineapple. However, the undigested pineapple has, how would I word this? As far along in the digestive system as it was estimated that she ate the pineapple about 2.5 hours before she was murdered, meaning somebody would have had to have waken up and given her pineapple. This theory strangely points to her brother, who was 9 at the time, because his fingerprints were all over the pineapple. He had also eaten pineapple, and there are reports of him being mean and aggressive towards his younger sister, and it's possible that he just got out of control one night and murdered his sister. That's the other theory that points to the family. So I went over all those points. There's a lot of different theories. Obviously, this is just the one that I chose to go over for the sake of time. Yeah, sure.